I'm going to have another go at another blocky chunk I found from the stuff Bill Taylor has been sending me. See what I can do with it. Let's see, 7.5 at the most. I'm going to lose an inch. Yeah, probably right off the bat because I got to straighten it. I got to take this off. Yeah, let's see. Let's see. It looks like it has transparency, at least right there. All right. Let's start with the smaller bopper. Let's see. Yeah. It looks like a triple flow, though. It's got some red and some black areas, too. As well as transparent. Okay, so that end is taken down. Now the question is, where do I establish a flat surface? Because it's twisted as well as blocky. I'm going to nap away everything that has that twist or contributes to the twist. What about this central ridge? That comes with time. Yeah, I don't tackle it right away in many cases. Some cases I have been known to tackle that right away. It depends on how everything is looking. Yeah, taking that twist out was very important. I think more important than trying to get that ridge. I wasn't quite sure how it was going to work. I've got to make sure there's good material in here. Sometimes if I leave it to last or leave it till later, I end up with too much bad material in there that I could have tested for earlier. Anyways. Yeah, I took a look at my videos and it appears that my unboxing videos are actually doing better than my regular videos. I'll think it to myself. All that time spent learning how to nap and all I had to do was unboxing videos. Of course, I did do some napping during those unboxings. But dang. All right, let's see what I can do on that ridge here. Nice, nice, nice. Oh yeah, I was going to talk more about low power strikes to remove long flakes, which is counterintuitive because I've been saying that long flakes require lots of force. That was a low power strike. That's what reminded me. There are some instances where you don't need much energy to remove the flake, but it has to be a situation where it's almost perfect. If you could take off a long, thin flake, relatively speaking, but with a strong ridge, it doesn't require that much power to remove it. Doesn't require that much energy. Now, it was also working against itself. There's a lot of mass, so there's no energy loss in the strike. So not applying lots of force doesn't mean that a lot of force wasn't applied. Okay? Sometimes it has enough resistance that all you need is a small amount of speed to generate the power you need because there's no loss of energy. So a low power strike is two components. How much is resisting the strike, therefore has to do with energy loss, and what is the shape of the flake. If you have both conditions that are just right, this happens. You can generate a long flake with very little power compared to a normal or a bifacial type flake. And that's how you can end up with these long blades with tools that are seemingly very delicate or soft or crackly, like antler. If you hit it real hard on the stone, the antler will crack and dimple and shred itself into bits, unless you're hitting in a way that is a low power strike. Okay? All right. See, that was very low power. As far as speed of the strike, it imparts a lot of energy to the workpiece just because there's a lot of mass resisting it, and the shape of the flake doesn't allow much escape of energy because it's a narrow path of travel. There's not much widening out. It can't fan out. When it fans out, it dissipates energy. If it's forced to continue in a narrow path, then less energy is required. The surface area of the flake is an indicator of how much energy was needed. A wide flake with more surface energy requires more energy than a narrow flake. Okay? So that's how you generate low power strikes. I mean, that's how you generate long flakes with low power strikes. Okay? All right. And don't get confused. Low power doesn't mean that there isn't a sufficient amount of energy going through there. There is. It's just not much loss. Not much loss of energy. It translates to not having to swing as fast or as hard. Okay? Okay. That's pretty much it. Everything else is just small tweaks. Like the the shape of the striking area has to be robust, but that's just small tweaks. It doesn't have to be all that great. The more robust you can make the striking area, the better, up to a point. You can make it too robust, and then it'll crack the whole thing in half because it'll pull too much this way. Instead of driving the force inward, it'll pull too much. And if you slow down your strike, it'll pull also. Sometimes it doesn't matter because the material's strong enough, but many times the material you're knapping is not strong enough. No one wants to knap it, and then you can take advantage of the fact that no one wants to knap it and then get a bunch of free material, right? Because it's snapping halfish or whatever the problem is with it. Say, okay, give it to me and I'll use it. Okay, but then you're stuck with that material. What are you gonna do? You gotta deal with the issues. If you can get good at dealing with those issues, you got it made. You can just go up to people and say, got anything you can't knap? I'll take it. Yeah. How do I know this? I don't know. What's your thought process? I don't know. I'm not sure what to do. I'll just make a decision and live with it. I just go by general guidelines in many cases. I know I gotta thin the ends down first. Got to. Unless I got something weird and specific in mind. Like if I want to make a really thick base blade, I don't take off much from the base or from the stem. But that's not my goal this time, I don't think. I'm just trying for the biface, which means I'll just do it the easiest way I know how to do it. It's harder if I leave it thicker back here, because if it's really thick down here and I hit in the middle, that weight down here has a tendency to make it bend a lot. So I can't be doing a lot of late stage middle hits. It's a little bit of a different procedure depending on what you're leaving thick. Yeah, the easiest thing to do is leave the middle thick so it doesn't crack in half. And if you leave it too thick, that leads to problems also. But I'll deal with that. I'm leaving it really thick right now. Not sure exactly why I'm leaving it really thick, but it feels like I should. That's all. I'm worried about these areas. I'm going to be hitting pretty hard. So I need something in the middle so I don't snap it doing the damage control. These damage control things. Some of it's my damage that I do. Some of it is natural damage or natural defects. Damage control is also defect control. Still got some remnants of something in there. Okay. can deal with that little bit left later. I can deal with that later. Yeah, it doesn't go very deep. Okay. So on the other piece, I was doing low intensity strikes across this way, not just across this way. See, this way there's more resistance to the strike, so you have to swing less hard. But this way you don't you don't have that advantage. You have to swing hard. But there are ways that you can pick, or there are places that you can pick, and a way that you can strike that doesn't require much force. And that is to remove a thin flake. Thin. Everything is thin about it. The beginning and the end and the middle. All of it's thin. That also requires not much energy. Yeah. But it's very subtle. I'm saying it doesn't require much energy. It just requires slightly less. But you can notice it. It's something that can be noticed. And of course, the smaller the flake is, the less energy you need. So if you make it more narrow, it requires less energy to go past halfway to thin it. Okay, that's one way. The other way is to make a thin flake. Why do thin flakes require less energy when it's still as wide as a thick flake? It has to do with the initiation. How much is it actually cracking on the edge? Just a little bit? It takes just a little bit of cracking, or a lot of cracking? If it's a large initiation, it requires more energy than a little small initiation. That's why sometimes the platforms are isolated to a small area. That way the initiation force to get it started is less. And that'll help you generate lower intensity strikes to get long flakes if it's just a small area to hit. Okay? Because you're not cracking a bunch of this stuff. The initial crack is not very wide, I should say, or doesn't have much initial force to overcome, to break through there. Okay. So I'm just taking relatively thin flakes. It does not because of the less surface area, but because of the initiation. It requires less energy to get it started. Still the same surface area, but the energy to get it started is less. Okay. That's why sometimes it works better to use a smaller tipped tool, because it requires less energy to get that flake started. But if it's got heaviness behind it, it can continue the flake. But see, that's very thin as well. And that's not what makes it less of energy requirement. It's the initiation. But a small initiation leads to a thin flake. So I show you, see, it's thin. So small initiation, thin flake, less power. Okay. If you're dealing with tough material like raw chert or raw flint, it's going to feel like you have to hit it hard. It's going to feel incredibly hard, like you're really putting a lot of effort into it. But that's just the nature of the material. Some material requires very hard hits in general to get any kind of initiation going. The larger the initiation, the more energy is required to get it initiated. You can learn a little bit from Obsidian, because flakes in general have pretty much the same characteristics. You know, bulb of percussion or bulb of pressure. Then the mid-range of the flake, where it recovers from the bulb and it starts expanding and rippling through the material, and then the termination. All the same. It's all the same principle in every flake. Almost every flake. Some flakes don't go like you want. They'll split this way. They won't, they won't skim the surface. They'll crack radially. Different kind of flake in that case than what I'm talking about. Yeah, the radial cracks within a flake like this doesn't negate the bulb of pressure or percussion and the intermediate zone and the termination. It just adds that extra dimension in there. That's a radial crack that makes it different. In case you're wondering, what are you talking about? What's the difference? What are the differences? That's one difference. Okay, what other types of flakes are there? I'm not going to get into it. Yeah, I'm trying to focus now. I'm starting to get sweaty. I've paused the video enough times, or I've stopped my napping enough times to explain something. I'm trying to get this done without taking too long. Because it interrupts my flow. I won't be able to nap right. What good is the explanation if I don't nap right? If I break it? Try to be careful. Just like you wanted to, but look what happens. Don't blame it on us, man. You're the one that's doing it. But I'm influenced by suggestions. Oh, yes. Hee. I can be sneaky. Why did I take this one off before that one? I'm supposed to take this one off first and then that one. Well, when I took that one off, I scooped it a little bit much, so I said, oops, it's unbalanced. I wasn't going to take anything off of here. I scooped it too much. I'm looking for a flat spot. Because it's starting to get concave. I'm looking for a flat or a rounded area. I don't want it to pull too much. If I hit with a concavity, as it drags, only drags a little bit. But if I'm in a concavity, it pulls a little bit more than usual, and it messes me up. Because even just a little subtle difference in the amount of pull produces a totally different look to the flake. I don't know if those pulled or not, but I think you know what I mean. It produces shorter flakes if it pulls like this during the strike. Because then the strike imparts a lot of its force in the direction I don't want. I want it to impart its force, let's say, in this position, not in this position. And a lot of it has to do with how long do I want the flake. If I want it short, I'll do that. If I want it longer, I'll do that. Come on. It wants to be tough. I keep telling Obsidian it's not tough, but it wants to be. It tries to be tough. Okay. 6 1/4. What was it before? 7 and something? Yeah, it was pretty long. Good thing I don't remember, because then I'd be like, wait, how much did I lose? Over an inch? I don't know. I don't remember. Truly, I don't remember. Okay, next phase. How do you determine what phase it is? By the amount of nervousness. Not anything else. It's just starting to make you feel nervous. That's the next phase. You might say, well, I get nervous the whole way. Okay, well then it's always the sweat stage for you, okay? Until you get used to maybe the bifacing, then your sweat stage will come later. All right. But for me, the bifacing stage is relatively easy. And taking out the curves and dealing with the little areas that need to be removed, and the twist was removed as well. All that in initial stages is not as nerve-wracking as the final thinning. For me, some guys like the final thinning. You guys are nuts. You guys are crazy. Some might say, yeah, the final stage, man, is the adrenaline rush. That's the exciting part. Gets you all nervous and the adrenaline starts pumping. You start heating up. Yeah. I don't like that feeling, you know. I'm always trying to calm down. I got too much of that feeling. Too much getting, you know, too many things coming at me, making me want to fight or flee. There's something calming. Yeah, got too much of the stimulus. I don't need no more stimulus. Some people might say, yeah, I wish I had that problem. I don't feel any stimulus. I gotta force it. You just can't sit there and start to get stimulus. Yeah, well, welcome to my world. You just sit there, minding my own business. And anxiety starts to go. You go, who is it? You know who it is. Ah, dang it, I know who it is. I know who it is. I knew who it was when I heard the steps come up the steps. Heard the footsteps come up the stair steps. I knew it. Yeah. There's cracks in there. See that? Do you see it? I'm not the only one, right? It could be just superficial cracks. It's hard to tell with the clear stuff if those are deep cracks or just superficial crunchies. So you gotta take precautions. Yeah. Precautions. What other kinds of precautions are there besides precautionary precautions? Well, that's easy to answer. There's frivolous precautions. Frivolous. Nonsensical. Hyperbolic. Shall I go on? Mm-hmm. Okay, this is it's difficult because I have to hit hard and then soft, hard and then soft, hard and then soft. It's not continuous. Hitting only hard and then getting less and less hard. The strike's getting less and less powerful. No, it's sometimes extremely delicate hit, sometimes a very intense hit, sometimes somewhere in the mid range, sometimes I don't know how hard I should strike that. Sometimes it's I know exactly how hard to strike it, but it's not working. Like that one right there. It's the same area as before. Yeah, I'm tending to fall into a pattern here. Same place, and I'm trying not to think about the previous ones. Can't help it. Not sure how hard to hit those. It's very easy to ruin it. Oh yeah. You want to do some easy napping? Just ruin it. That's super easy peasy. How do you make napping easier? That's easy to answer. Just ruin it. Yeah, that's easy. No, not that easy. Not that kind of easy. Well, you got to be more specific. Got to be more Pacific. Yeah, I knew kids in school that used to make that mistake. Can you be more Pacific, please? You mean like a Pacific Islander? What? Never mind. Never mind. I didn't say nothing. I'm not making fun of you. Oh, no, no. Yeah, there it is. That's the intensity of the strike I needed with the surface area that I needed. And I needed to sneak it. I needed to sneak it down that way. See, it was heading this way, but I snuck it down that way. Because I've seen what it did before, I was explaining before. Sometimes it likes to sneak its way into a path of least resistance. Well, there you go. I said, let's try it. And it did it. Now I can snicker. Because it's a sneaky snicker. One of the secrets to this is learning what the stone likes to do. It doesn't like doing much. But if you can learn what it likes to do and then keep doing it, you may get some good results. Maybe. The stone catches on pretty quick and goes, no, wait a second. I see what you're trying to do. I shall not be manipulated that easily. That's what the stone is saying. Sometimes a stone is full of BS and it can be manipulated easily, especially if it's consistent stone. It wants to be all chaotic and everything, but if it's consistent, it can be manipulated easily. Yeah. Just gotta figure out what it likes to do. What kind of surfaces does it like to run flakes on? What surface is best to run a flake on? For most materials, a convex smooth surface, but it varies in convexity. Some materials don't mind a relatively flat surface or completely flat. You can still run flakes on that material, even though the surface is completely flat. But some materials, no, you gotta have a lot of convexity, a lot of it. Or it doesn't like to run the flakes. It'll goof up. It'll do weird things. It'll scoop out, or the flake won't run very far. It'll crush the edge, yada yada. That's all it is, mostly. Just figuring out what the stone likes. You tweak it, because some stones are very similar to other stones. You just have a little bit of tweaks here and there. You're lucky if you have batches of stone that are very similar. That's like the ideal situation, where all you need is these little tweaks. But the downside of that is the tweaks are so subtle that sometimes you can't even notice. And then one little mishap, and it starts to act up, and you like, what did I do? Did I forget how to flint knap? I can't do nothing with this material no more. Because you're not sure exactly where to tweak, or what did you tweak before. You can't remember something that subtle. Yeah. But having a more consistent material does help. Because even though you can't feel the subtlety sometimes, just after hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hits, you just get used to what works. And you don't need to feel the little subtle tweaks. It's just built, it starts to become ingrained. Yeah. The brain will ingrain. I think I'm getting debris in the tooltip. That's just what leads to that weird stuff. And I just dressed it not long ago. Yeah. Dang it. That's a bad one. That's just a little subtle difference too. And I messed it up. That's pretty bad. Why did I even take that flake? I was just planning on taking a small flake. Must have slipped while I was trying to take that small flake, because there's no reason for me to take anything there that large that really ruined that edge. I have no idea. I was confusing myself while I was talking about being confused. Yeah. And then when I try to take a big flake, it doesn't work. Okay. Yeah, the edge quality is not that great. Both in terms of my preparation and the way it's got these little cracks. And yeah, it might be the abrader, but I'm thinking it's more of the lack of abrading, because I just don't want to abrade a lot. Yeah. I don't feel like abrading every single second. For every little thing. But it looks like I've got to. The material's probably got some inconsistency in it as well. Yeah. But it's not bad. I mean, I don't feel a lot of weirdness. I see a lot of weirdness. It doesn't feel that way, but I do see a lot of weirdness. Okay. Ooh, almost got that whole thing. I almost removed all that cortex. I wasn't shooting for that, but it was kind of lucky. I was just trying to thin it down. Someone was asking me about long flutes. I can't remember what the question was, but the answer that I gave, I said it had a lot to do with luck. If you see a long flute on a Clovis, it's most likely not the technique, it's the luck. Technique's the same every time. It's just thinning flakes from the base. And yeah, you can isolate and you can do preparation of the surface and all that, but that's the same for all flakes. Even the ones from the sides on a Clovis. They do preparations for all those too. Sometimes they isolate a platform. How do I know? I've seen Clovis artifacts and I've seen the casts, and there are some areas on Clovis that have abrading on them, but there's no other abrading anywhere except that one little spot. It looks like they were going to maybe think about taking a flake there. And it's kind of isolated, but they don't. They didn't take a flake because I don't know. I don't know why. It looks like they did a lot of things on the fly. Like whenever they had an opportunity to do some napping, they would do it, and then when they're interrupted, they would just stop the napping. Stick it in the bag. Finish it up later. No time to say, no, I'm napping, nature. You know, I'm not going to stop my napping just because an elk walks by. Nope, I'm not going to stop. This is my napping time. I don't care if dinner for the next 2 months just walks by. That don't matter to me. I'm going to do my napping. No. It's like, oh, I couldn't put that napping in my bag fast enough. Grab my weapons and take down that elk. Heck with the napping. Or, you know, there's a raiding party come around. They're attacking us. They're attacking us. Wait, I'm doing my napping. I can't join you in the counterattack. Okay, I got a little defect on the edge. I got to do it. I got to isolate. I've already isolated it. Don't interrupt me because I got to take a flake. No, you join the counterattack. Or whatever. Join the defensive. Drop everything. Husband, the child is in the water drowning. Wait, but there's a lump. There's a lump in it. The child is drowning. Being swept down the current. For the 4th time today. You're not going to say, no, it's got a lump. Just leave me alone. We have luxuries today that we never had. I can isolate myself now and just make myself available for emergencies only. Yeah. Not like I just mentioned a bunch of emergencies, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. We still have the same emergencies that they used to have, you know, but it's a little bit different. You know, we don't have to hunt and kill big animals or difficult animals anymore. We hunt and kill at the grocery store. Yeah. I see, I buy it, I take it home. That's my tracking. As Sid the sloth would say. I see, you know, he eats plants, so he just sees a plant and he grabs it and eats it. That's his tracking. Remember that? Ice Age? No, you don't remember Sid the sloth? You don't have kids then. Yeah. Anyways, that was his line. Yada, 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 yada. That's my tracking. I don't have to do much. Well, that's the kind of world we live in where I just get in the car, turn the key, push on the gas and the brake, and drive down there and get the food. That's my tracking. Yeah, my kid falls in the water for the 4th time today, but there's a lifeguard on duty at the pool, okay? Alrighty? We got some luxuries that we never had before. So we can sit there and say, I don't know what you're talking about. I would never sit there and just isolate the edge and just leave it. Nope, that can't be it. Yeah, but that's from our own perspective in this day and age. What else? That's the question. What else are we not thinking about because of our day and age? You better not mess up. Almost felt like I didn't hit that right. I like that one. That one felt like I didn't hit it right, and I didn't. Same spot. Okay. What is it with that? The way I'm holding it, I think. I left that thick for a reason. Come back to it after a little more practice, but no, didn't do any good. See, I can get a predictable flake from almost anywhere. It's just that one spot lately. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know, because if I knew, I wouldn't do it. And it's probably too subtle for me to see it. Something really subtle is making a big mistake. I still got to get that step fracture out of the side there. Okay. So yeah, damage control is making this more and more narrow. More and more narrow and more and more narrow. So yeah, I could have probably made it a lot more narrow to begin with, and it would have been easier. Because then I wouldn't have to mess with the thinness too much. I can thin it at my leisure. If it starts more narrow and thicker, then I can just thin where I want to thin it if I want to thin it. Now I've got to thin it to get rid of some of the defects. There's mandatory thinning going on. I gotta thin it. If not, those defects are going to stay there. Yikes. Still use this abrader, even though I think it contributes to the crackliness of the edge, because I'm too used to using a rough abrader to switch to a more fine abrader right now. Except for the file, I'm also used to the file. I just don't use the medium grit very much. And if I start switching to something new, you know what happens. There's a learning curve. That learning curve can throw you a curveball. Yeah, that's how you can remember. Did I crack it? No. Good. Almost thought I cracked it. No, that's just a ridge. Okay. I keep getting distracted by an area that looks cracked, but it's just a ridge on the other side. So what am I doing? I'm just trying to make a smooth surface, as smooth as I can. It's kind of wonky because the material is wonky. Yeah, during this stage, I'm not able to produce these flat flakes that I was toward the beginning. I'm trying to generate flatter flakes, but I'm not able to do it. They're all kind of wavy now. I think it has to do with the wobbliness. I don't know. If I start guessing, I don't get the physics correct. So I'm guessing right now what's causing these different things, and it'll do you a disservice if I got the physics wrong. So I don't speculate too much. If you're working with the wrong set of physics, you're not going to get it right. Yeah, no matter what you do, if you're working on with the wrong set of physics, it's not going to help you. You can be working with the wrong set of terminology, like you're calling it a stiff fracture when it's actually a hinge. Okay, fine. It's not gonna, but it's not gonna make a difference. But if I try to tell you that it's got to do with some sort of force involved at a certain angle with a certain amount of wobbliness or something like that, I might be telling you incorrectly. I'm speculating. It could be just that I'm not adapting well to the material. I'm just not understanding it. It could be that. Something as simple as that. Just not understanding it. I see what I'm doing. I know what I'm saying, but I just don't understand it. Don't understand the material. I think I'm getting more used to it, but I'm not going to speak too soon. No, I'm not getting more used to it, okay? Yeah. Not getting more used to it. Wow, okay. Amazing. But I'm not getting used to it. No. Okay. Voila. Yeah. That's it. That's it for the percussion phase. 6 1/8. I lost a whole inch and something. Almost inch and a half. It was 7.5, I think. I don't know. I don't remember. I lost a lot off of this end here. I trimmed a lot. I remember in the beginning, I trimmed a lot, trimmed a lot, trimmed a lot. I don't think I trimmed much off the tip, but I don't remember much from that one. So there's I need a, there it goes. There's a splotch of black right there. There's a splotch in here. I need a tip of red. And there's some smoky areas. Yeah. Put those with the other bifaces. Oh, I only got one other one? I thought I had another other one. All right. Yeah. I thought I had another one around here that I was working on. Must be dreaming. Hallucinating. Okay, so that was okay. That really bugged me, though, that I kept making the same mistake, like right here. I still didn't get it out completely. So, with the repeated pattern, it means that I have some mental issue going on where I'm not understanding the correct positioning of everything when I'm hitting in this one particular area. It's not the material, it's not the tool, it's got to be the positioning. Somehow my brain is not understanding, although I can do it on this. No, I didn't do it. I didn't strike it in that way on this side. See that? The lump is still there. I struck it this way. I can do it across that way, just not this way. Somehow, I don't know why. So if I strike this side over here, I'll just go across this way. I won't try to go this way. I mean, I'm holding it wrong. That's what I think it is. Well, if you know how to hold it right, you need to teach us how to hold it right. You need to teach us how to hold it right. Well, I don't always know how to hold it right, obviously. You know how to hold it right if it naps right? Well, some of it's luck. It's not all luck. Well, I think a lot of it is luck, and I can't tell the difference between me doing it right or me being lucky. I don't know. I can't tell. It's very subtle, too. I don't know exactly. I seem to understand the positioning better going across this way than to go diagonally. Because all these are just going across. There's not, see all these flakes? They're all going across. They're not going diagonally. Although I did sneak one up here early on. I snuck a diagonal one in here. I think it was on this side. It was really sneaky. It went this way, but then it snuck down the edge this way, or toward the edge, parallel with it. Took off a lump. I was starting to get a little cocky, I guess. Yeah, most of these strikes that are successful are just going straight in, or just maybe slightly angled. This one looks straight in, but I think I managed to clear up a bunch of it that was going this way. Yeah. And I was just thinking today, I haven't done my channel news yet. What's up? I've been doing errands during the day. And it gets dark really early, so that's my excuse. Yeah. All right. That's it. That's it. Wrestling with the challenge, Obsidian. That should be the title of this one, Wrestling with More Challenge Obsidian. This was a blocky piece. But the blockiness isn't the challenge, I don't think. It's the final thinning stages. Yeah. Okay. All it needs now is to be sharpened. And I'll just leave the edge kind of wonky, kind of wavy. Yeah. Alrighty. That's it.